of anything. Welcome to Photography Out Loud. I'm your host, Paul Davis, along with Joel Longbone, which is also a host, actually. So we're your hosts. My name's Paul Davis, and as always, joined with Joel Longbone. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm
That was an interesting introduction, given that there was barely any introduction at all.
I was thinking...
You could have had so many ideas.
No, there was so many going on in my head. I was just like, they all cancelled each other out, and then I had nothing. So, but no, this week we've been wanting to do this episode for so long now,
yes,
and
sure.
We've been waiting for little bits to come in so we can show you. But this week we are talking about film and the love of film that we have. Well, it's really like the love of photography and almost like where it started more than anything,
Almost
isn't
where
it?
it started, not quite. We're not giving a history lesson on where film started.
Yeah, back in.
Back into there.
Yeah, unless you want us to. I mean, yeah, we could possibly
make
do something
a
like that.
Hilarious version of the history of photography.
Yeah, no, definitely. So
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. But no, I am excited about today's episode because it's where I started, which is nice. And yeah, we get to talk about it, which is lovely. So,
But we will just say that we're not going to be. What's the word?
you're asking me?
We're not going to be snobs.
No.
Film is great for some people.
Yes.
For some other people, it's not.
Yeah.
You're neither a better or worse photographer just because you use film.
But we want to dig down into that, don't we? And sort of explore a little bit.
Just don't run away.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we want to know, everyone watching at home or wherever you watch these videos,
Could be in the middle of nowhere.
could be in the middle of nowhere.
If you've got a 4G or 5G signal, crack on.
Yeah, stream anywhere now. Watch streaming anywhere. But we'd love to know whether you like film photography. You know, do you like it every now and again? You know, do you like sort of picking a film camera up sort of halfway through the year and sort of start using it? And also, if you have any film cameras, let us know what they are. We'd love to have a conversation about them. But yeah, drop them into the comments. We'd love to know, you know, what you have and what you like shooting on as well. Lots of different
And
types
also
of
what
films.
film you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You get to choose your sensor.
Yeah. Which is it's so.
Could you imagine if somebody just made cameras? Not the sensors, just the cameras, and then you get to choose which sensor you put in it.
Oh,
So you could have like Canon body, but with a Sony sensor, or a Fuji sensor and a Nikon body.
But before we sort of go into the week,
Like a ZFC with a Fuji.
okay, right. So Dreamland, right? Okay. If you could have any body, but then what sensor would you put in?
X-trans sensor.
Yeah.
It probably would be a Canon body.
Yeah.
Although I do like my Fuji X100,
Yeah.
obviously. But I don't know. I shot on Canon quite a lot when I was younger, so it's kind of got that familiarity to it.
Yeah. I would break the rules
Ooh.
and go a full frame Fuji X-trans sensor.
Nice. In what?
Probably in
A Nikon.
yeah.
Because you're a closet Nikon fanboy.
Nikon 850D. I think I'd go back and have that. Yeah, that's what I'd have. Anyway, how's your week been, Joel?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
It started off.
you went somewhere, didn't you?
I did. Where did I go?
Where did you go?
I went to the middle of England, which is like Middle Earth. No, it's not. Yeah, I went to TPS at the NEC, and I don't seem to have caught anything, which is good.
Not even a deal.
There's no stock to have a deal.
Yeah, very true.
Interestingly, though, it was great to see some of our customers.
Yeah.
And also, I was walking out of TPS with Sarah.
Yeah.
And somebody, who shall remain nameless, just in case they want to stay anonymous, and catch whatever you've got, mate. No, we don't use anon, because people start thinking you're like a political activist or something. Yeah, I was walking out and somebody came along, didn't recognise who I was at first because it was behind, and they went, "Oh, can I ask you a question about your peak bag?" Of course you can.
Didn't take long.
Sorry, Dave.
David.
David Jim. David's like, not again, not more peak nonsense. And they asked me about it, and then as I turned around, he went, "Oh, it's Joel, and it's Sarah." I've seen you on YouTube videos, and obviously been into a shop once or twice as well, which was great. So it was really cool to get to see somebody. And incidentally, they're buying an Olympus lens off us as well.
Nice.
And they bought a peak bag.
Yeah.
So
Again,
yeah, it was nice.
We're not even right. Just over 5 minutes in, you've mentioned Peak twice. Do you want to mention?
I mentioned
it a third
Fuji,
time?
Canon, Nikon, Sony. Do you want me to name drop anybody else? Olympus, I've mentioned. I mentioned TPS, Birmingham, NEC.
So we're not mentioning Peak again.
I don't know. You've mentioned it just as many times as I have at this point.
Not even a
Although,
yeah, there we go. That's what I was waiting for.
although,
Go on.
they did have the prototype of the new smartphone case that they're releasing, which was very good, and I'm 100% having one. And I'm 100% having the wallet thing as well.
Yeah,
It's got a hinge.
No, it is nice, isn't it? It is.
You're
Nice.
secretly wanting one as well.
No, I am actually going to probably.
The only problem is they don't do it in different colours.
Yeah.
So we'll have to make sure that the two of us don't get our phones
I'll
mixed up.
paint mine in pink. There we go.
Okay, each to their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to go there. It was great to see people I haven't seen in like 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
It was good to be back in terms of, you know, a show with some atmosphere and a buzz and seeing people who were enthusiastic and excited about photography, which
Yeah.
is something we obviously love. Great to hear talks going on, demonstrations. Got to see some new stuff like the new Tamron 18-300
Yeah.
for the Sony and not the Fuji mount, but I tried it on the Sony. But it's essentially going to be the same lens, just with a different mount, and that was very good.
Yeah.
Considering how much it cost. Saw the Canon R3.
Whee! It's the only time you're going to see one this year.
What a beast! It's phenomenal. Obviously, I only got to see it at the show.
Yeah.
But there was no fast-moving things.
Yeah.
But you could
just
see,
tell.
like
Yeah.
even you just turn around and it locks onto somebody's head as they're walking away from you or towards you or across the frame. And you're thinking that like almost did it as soon as I thought about it.
Did you get to try the eye thing?
No. So I was speaking to Raj, our friend Raj,
Yeah.
'cause it was
Who's
great to
been
see
on the
him.
channel?
First time I met him in real life, which was wonderful, and his partner, so that was cool. And he said it's got to be calibrated for
Right,
different
okay.
conditions.
Yeah.
So probably not ideal for a wedding photographer or an event photographer where stuff's changing, but great for, you know, a sports photographer out on a football field.
Yeah.
Or maybe motorsport photography where the light and
I was reading about this online, and because like obviously with online there's the extremes of sort of each other, and you know it was very much like I can't see how this would work, and clearly they're like a wedding or portrait photographer, and they're thinking about, well, I want to compose it sort of this way, and I might look around the frame to check if the image is right. Again, it's not made for that person, is it?
And the thing is, you know that for sports where you can't control everything, you can control how somebody stands if you're shooting portrait. But yeah, being able to go, oh, okay, the car's coming in from the frame there.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore. I want to go back. That's very clever because
Yeah.
you wouldn't easily be able to necessarily do that ordinarily.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And it's got the new autofocus.
Yeah, I know. It's
So you can
fucking
use
so
joystick, but then you can use like this touch sensitive thing, which is super cool.
good. Yeah.
And it felt nice to hold.
I think the way that Canon have said it is it's just taken another thing out of doing, isn't it? So, you know, if something's going on over there, I want that in focus. Look that way. Snap. You're done. So,
And the thing is, over time, it's going to get cleverer.
yeah.
And then also those that use it will get to understand it more. It's like everything new, or most new things. People will be like, oh, what's a smartphone? Who wants to carry a smartphone around in their pocket? Who wants to touch the screen all the time? And now that's all we ever think about. And who wants to type on a screen when they could have had BlackBerry or whatever? So there's all that kind of like innovation side of things. But it was great to see pretty much all of the big manufacturers there, except for like Panasonic and stuff, which was a shame. But it was good to see Olympus there as well. Yeah, it's cool. And then it was cool to see the smaller brands as well.
Okay.
So like Loop Deck were there, and Affinity, and Tetnal, and Ilford. Ilford had this pop-up dark room.
Ah, yeah. They've just announced that as well, haven't they?
Not gonna lie, it did look like you were on a campsite and that was the toilet. But equally,
Did you have random people walking up to it going, sir, where are you?
And what else was cool there? Oh, it was great to see Sigma. They had a very cool wall. They had the back caps screwed onto the wall, so all the lenses faced you.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
And like,
so
we need to figure out how to...
They bayonet off to grab a lens?
Yeah, so you could see like some optics were like at the front and then...
Mate, that's somebody very confident with super glue right there.
No, it was...
drilled in as well, was it?
Yeah, definitely. I do think they were a bit like twitchy on the first
day.
Yeah. But no, it was great to see.
It's all right. Just 4 days. They just need to stay up for 4 days, and that'll be fine. So
and it was cool to see. Like Fuji, we looked at like some of their printing options and the new GFX 50S Mark II.
Yeah.
Which is super cool as well. I got to see an infrared version of the GFX 100.
Nice.
That's kind of weird. It's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great just to see people. And it definitely wasn't the same, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of shows that people still love photography and still love to go and see that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully it'll be bigger next year. And
looking at a couple of people's sort of Instagram, it has been sort of like that. So everyone's gone like, and it's like people that love the industry as well. It's just said like, oh, it's just, reminded me how nice this industry potentially is.
And it was great to see reps that we've not seen for a while, and obviously customers that we saw, which was really, really good. And then also seeing people that we'd met online through doing like the virtual shows like Raj, it was really cool to see. So yeah, it was cool.
Oh, brilliant.
I said cool an awful lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to see Dave Kai Piper as well with his
fantastic. It's been a while,
leg
actually.
that looks interesting.
Yeah.
But he was really well, so that was good.
Yeah.
Paul Sanders as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
That's cool people.
Awesome. Wow. Shall we go to some of the comments before we jump in and talk a little bit about
the first comment is from Cambrian Photo. Do you have a favourite film, Cameron?
Yeah, I quickly snuck that in before we went live.
And Facebook added the same thing.
Yeah,
Imagine that. David Yeoman said, good afternoon. Favourite film camera? Fujifilm GA645, a medium format point and shoot that you can use in full manual mode.
Yeah. I mean, that is a lovely
it's a very
camera.
Bizarre.
It looks odd because it looks like a compact film camera out of the 90s, which just looked awesome back then. But then just somebody's given it one of those sort of Mario mushrooms and it's sort of grown in size.
I remember seeing one when GFX 50R came out. Yeah. Because it's not too dissimilar.
Yeah. It's got that feel to it. And I think that's where they've probably modelled some of the, maybe the R, the 50R off of it maybe, but who knows. But yeah, no, it's a very special camera. So.
Right, sure.
And I've expressed that with
David.
With David.
Johnny says, good afternoon, likey lads. Good afternoon, great to see you. Great to have some end of the week like comedy duo.
Yeah, there we go.
Glad
Thank you very much.
Here for the public service. Ian says, good afternoon, you guys. Good afternoon. Is there any cycling on this week? I should always check. And I have a Ricoh. What is it that you've given me, mate?
Giving you something.
Ricoh GR1V film camera, sadly little used. Well, hopefully we might inspire you to use it more.
Yeah. Again, another great little camera.
Well,
I remember selling them.
The GR, like the 2 and the 3 digital, and the X that's just come out. Like they're very popular cameras in that niche, aren't they? So, Johnny says, you would open up the camera world of gender identity. I identify as Canon, said the Sony. Oh, wow. Could you remember? Could you imagine the political correctness is going to... Oh, goodness me. Wow. Oh, somebody's not going to be happy at this point, are they? David said, I identify as a family of 4 according to Tesco's Sticky Toffee Pudding. Oh, dear. If nobody knows and they've not been on Facebook, there was a thing going around, was it this week or last? And it was like a picture of it and it said serves 4, but it's like, well, no, I can eat a whole one in one go. So there we go. Don't tell your doctor that. don't think the dietitian's going to be too happy with that, or the nutritionist. Tina, great to see you. Incidentally, Tina was there because she was helping out on She Clicks. It was great to see Angela. Yeah. And Angela's up for doing another brilliant talk with us, which is great. So it was really good to see Angela. I met a guy called Jeff as well from Camera Jabber. He was a very nice fellow.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it was good to see you, Tina. So yeah, it's just nice like walking around the corner and seeing people you know. It feels familiar. David says, I've got eye control AF on a film SLR. Canon EOS 30 with a mere 7 focus points to move between. This was mentioned when the R3 came out, because people are like, oh, look at this amazing new tech. And it's like, no, they did try that a few years ago. Yeah. But
I never got it to work though on the film stuff. Never got it to work. So again, probably needed calibrating. And back then it was probably like, hold this button for 3 seconds. I didn't even know how to do it, but it would have been sort of like
would that be like trying to set up the antenna on your TV?
I reckon so, back then.
Stand on one leg, pointing the wrong direction. Nige says, hi guys. Hi Nige, good to see you. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
That was a nod to the enormous camera that's sitting on there. So, and Gareth Morland says, afternoon guys. Afternoon, Gareth.
Thanks for joining.
If you guys want to learn from Gareth about doing stars, then 2nd and the 9th of October, go on our Eventbrite or on our Facebook.
Yep.
And the things are there. And also it's in the newsletter that's going out later as well.
Brilliant.
So sign up because he is very good and he's a joy to be around. He's just a really nice bloke.
Yeah. Just fun to be around. You get some awesome images and you learn at the same time. So 100%. Win-win.
That image that I've used as his thing.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
So good.
So good.
So good, so good. So yeah, good to see you.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for the comments. Keep them coming in. Let us know if you like using film cameras or even if you dislike.
Are you ready to get told off for not doing something right? Oh. That's not a phone call.
Why? Because David's watching.
David's going to
pressure's on now. Pressure's on now. Yeah. So
make sure you do it right.
That's brilliant. I mean, yeah, we should start with obviously, what a film camera is really in a way, shouldn't we? So for the uneducated, because we have. Did you start on film when?
Yes, because I was still young enough that my parents. Had film.
So you had the like essence of it when.
So my dad had an ME Super.
Yeah.
I think everybody's dad my age who was into photography or wanted a good camera had an ME Super.
Yeah.
All similar. My granddad, who incidentally gave me that Zenit, he always shot on film, and then my grandmother as well. She was pretty die-hard film until recently, and then went digital. My nana, she used to produce albums all the time. So, yeah, photography's been in our family for like ages.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up with film, and I can remember like disposable cameras being a big thing as well. And then my grandma used to have Olympus Mew.
Yeah.
All the cool kids want them now, and that's like what most of my childhood was shot on when I was with my grandma. Yeah. Just always around the neck.
Please, if anyone's watching, if you've got a Mew 2 film in black, just let me know, because I just want to say well done to you.
Yeah, they look great. Harry's got one, hasn't he?
He has, and I was just like, so jealous. So jealous. I want one so badly.
Yeah. No, they are really cool, and you don't realise how cool they were. In some ways, because they just work so well, and they're old cameras, but they still work.
They still work. They're absolutely brilliant.
And I remember my mum and dad had a big chest at home, and it's just like full of film.
Yeah.
So yeah. I feel like I didn't, but I did all at the same time, because my dad, with work especially, as soon as digital cameras came out, it was so much easier for him with his job in a big tech firm to be able to just like take pictures of equipment and like put it in a document. So we had digital cameras that weren't even measured in megapixels.
Right, okay.
Like the Kodak DC,
you saw like the
DC-10, what was it, 30? I can't remember. It's like almost like a pair of binoculars. It was massive.
I think I remember it.
And you had to wait for so long, and then you had to plug it in.
Because that was on like a little like floppy disk, wasn't it?
So that one was actually internal memory only, hence why you had to plug it in. But yeah, I remember the floppy disk.
Because they had a floppy disk version of it, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah, and you're like, two pictures, take it out and put another one in. It wasn't quite 2 pictures.
Absolutely
But
incredible.
yeah, it's like, it was weird because that crossover happened, I don't know, when I was probably like 15ish,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So, and you're a bit older than me, so
A little bit.
it happened a bit.
Yeah, it was weird because I got hooked on photography like in college. So it was just like, I need to do something along with my art and design. Like I need to do another module, and it's just like, I'll just do photography because I can probably. And then as soon as I got a camera in my hand, that's it. I was like hooked, and like photography just like impregnated like everything that I did around art and design as well. But yeah, it was strange because like when I was in college, it was very much like there was like the graphics people that would be like, oh yeah, look at this sort of like 1 megapixel sort of like camera, and you know, it'd be like, it's never going to catch on, like the quality's too low and stuff like that. And then we're just absolutely living our life, shooting on sort of like manual focus, black and white film, which is just absolutely rocking it. But there's a certain simplicity to like how you learn on, especially some of the older cameras like this. This is yours, Zenit, isn't it? This is your, what was it, your granddad's?
So I think he got given it by somebody, and I really wanted a film camera for myself, and he said, well, you can have this, Zenit.
Yeah.
So it's got the
it's got the
meter.
Yeah,
And it's a Moscow Olympics edition, which is kind of gorgeous.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So,
and also you could literally try and drive a tank over it, and the tank could get.
I mean, it is very solid, and it's just got a really nice sort of look to it, doesn't it? But it is just the simplicity of photography. But you would have to learn, wouldn't you? You know,
I remember him like explaining it to me and stuff, which was cool to kind of understand that you had to line different things up to make sure
exactly.
It worked properly.
So I mean, when you look through the viewfinder, especially in this one, you know, it's needle based, this one, isn't it? So, and it's on the top as well. So, you know, you get, you know, it's a case of when we turn something, something reacts, and then you just
get the line
things
between
up.
the circles.
Yeah. So, you know, it's about that, but it was all about, because the film that you put inside of it, so, you know, like a roll of film, you know, we didn't have the option of changing ISO, so you just put that in. So it purely be down to your shutter speed and your aperture. So you have to learn photography, but after you've learned that. Okay. So the longer I leave the shutter open, the more light comes in, and then I've got a little hole in the in the front of the lens,
and it's very mechanical.
Yeah,
so you can kind of like take the
but you can
lens
see
off
it
and
as well.
See the shutter. And
I don't know whether I will try and get to show this on, because even on the if I angle this right, there we go, and then if I turn the aperture. It's hold on, and this is why we practice stuff. There we go. So I've got to hold this button down, get the angle right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's showing.
Yeah,
all right. So there we go. So it's something that you can see. So, but there's something nice about that, isn't there? That, you know, that if I turn it this way, it's going to let more light in. And then when I turn the aperture this way, and
you barely ever see that in digital lenses. There's
no,
only a
you
few
don't.
that stop down when you turn it off.
And again, it's, you know, the way that you'd learn on film would be like you'd. No, I won't. So the way that you'd learn on a film camera is you'd learn from manual, and you would sort of learn what the aperture does and sort of go from that way. And then, you know, nowadays...
this is why they created bayonet fitting.
Yeah, exactly. Right, I'm just going to concentrate a little bit and make sure that I don't cross-thread this. There we go. And we're live.
Some Russian bloke's laughing at you now.
I know, yeah. Silly man.
Was that your Russian accent?
Apparently.
Oh dear.
We won't be streaming to Russia anytime soon, will we, after that? But yeah, no, there's something simplistic, and the way that we approach it nowadays is just like, you don't need to learn photography nowadays. You can get some.
Ooh.
You don't
Ooh.
if you don't want to. If you love nice pictures, you can keep a camera pretty much on auto, and it's going to do a lot of the work for you, and you're going to get amazing pictures. But when you shot on film, yeah, go on.
Especially not as much now because sensitive. It just sounds good. Just
Love it.
Should just do this like ASMR or whatever they're called, just like
Yeah.
A modern digital
Yeah,
sensor has pretty good dynamic range.
it does.
But if you overexposed your film,
Yes.
it had still really good dynamic range, and especially if the people in the darkroom were very nice, they'd make sure you didn't look like a complete and utter spoon
Yeah.
when they developed it for you.
Yeah.
Which it almost is exactly the opposite, isn't it, with digital? You
Yeah.
don't want to overexpose because there's a lot of detail in the shadow, whereas a film that's not exposed correctly, it's...
Yeah.
So I feel like you're definitely right in terms of, a camera is very clever nowadays, but equally back in the day, if you understood how it worked
Yeah.
with some kind of semblance of sense, then you could make film work even better for you than perhaps even a digital camera would nowadays in some ways.
I think so.
Because isn't it like 5 or 6 stops almost?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is bonkers, isn't it?
And then actually, you can push pull a little bit on film as well, which incidentally we're going to talk about next week, because the love.
Paul's going to do a darkroom demonstration next
Yeah,
week.
we are. Yeah.
It's literally going to be like this. So now I'm taking the film out. We were joking about it at the beginning of the week.
Yeah. I really want to do that joke next week, and he's taking it away from me.
You can do it again, mate. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's not going to have the same resolve now, is it? So, right. I'm angry now.
Oh dear.
But
Paul's going to
I'm
launch
joking.
one of these cameras at me.
I'm joking.
If you come in and you see like a lump on my head, it's because he's launched a film camera at me.
So, but no jokes aside, we want to we wanted to talk a little bit about the cameras this week, but then we wanted to show you how easy it is to develop your own black and white film at home as well. So we will be going through that next week as well, because it is dead easy, and especially with...
As long as you don't drink any of it.
I don't even know how that would come into play, but yeah, definitely don't drink
It's
chemicals.
dark, you get thirsty.
Fair enough.
Just got to be careful what you pick up.
Yeah, all right, I can...
Come on, there's got to be some reports. I'm going to Google it.
All right, okay.
Somebody did themselves a mischief by drinking.
Homework for next week, isn't it? But yeah, no, I think, film photography has now got that simplicity to it. I also think that shooting on film really does, it slows you down. So a lot of photographers that I speak to that, that still enjoy shooting on film, but also shoot on digital as well. So they enjoy both. It gives them, they shoot differently on film, which I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like Dick used to say, the founder of Cambrian photography. He always used to say, a camera is just a tool.
Yeah.
And you've got to choose the right tool for the right job. And analogy-wise...
Yeah. You're going to do his analogy.
I can't remember what his one was.
So he always used to
one.
say, no, it used to be the gardening one, because he did love his gardening as well. So it always used to be, if I gave you a golden shovel,
Sarah said that the other day.
would that make you an award-winning gardener?
Yeah.
And
there's like so for instance, sawing.
Yeah.
You could use like a coping saw, which is like going to take you a long time, but you get like a very fine control over it versus getting a jigsaw out and everything is like all over the place as you're trying. And that's the same with film. Like if you want something, if you've got the time to slow down and you want something very specific, then film can be a great choice. Whereas you would not choose that camera or any of the cameras on here to go and do motorsport photography.
No. Which, I mean...
Because you'd at least try and get one that had autofocus and a motor drive on it.
But at some point, somebody would have done, which I find is really...
And they probably either had The Patience of a Saint,
Yeah.
or The Sky Was Blue from all the swearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both at the time and when they got to the dark room and they saw missed again.
I can imagine. Yeah, and I think obviously, you know, when you get into that sports and wildlife sort of area, and you know, people have sort of come from that sort of film generation and used to shoot sports and wildlife on film. I mean, hat off there, isn't there?
100%.
Really is, really is.
Kids don't know their bar.
Exactly. There's lots of different types of film cameras around, and you can pick them up relatively inexpensive nowadays, can't you?
They're getting a lot more expensive though.
They rise
all
and
the
fall.
cool kids want them.
They rise and fall. Now we did
Well,
want to.
ain't no Leicas going cheap, are there?
No, there certainly isn't. They did have a little dip, but then sort of back up
And
again.
then everybody realised and started buying them.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a dip in Leicas. Let's buy them. But I mean, something like the Zenith. I mean, this isn't for sale, is it, Joel?
Hell no.
You know, this is your little baby.
Yep.
But you know, Zeniths, they were mass produced, so you can get them relatively inexpensive.
For sure.
I'm not going to take the mount off again because everyone saw me struggle.
Do you know what I love? Is the timer mechanism on it. I used to love that as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely great.
Just
And yeah, should we do that now?
You could.
See if it picks up on. It's just great, isn't it? Hear it a little bit. That's an annoying sound for online, isn't it?
I think it's great. Well, it's got to be less annoying than saying "Hey Siri" or "Hey Alexa."
And I didn't wind it on then, so you didn't get the satisfying
ka-chunk.
clunk at the end.
Look at how many shutter speeds you get to choose from.
Yeah. Oh, it's just not there, is it? You know.
Could you imagine if a camera came out with that many shutter speeds?
So we have a 30th, a
Yeah.
60th, 125, 500, and that's it.
I love how there's a big difference between 30th and a 60th.
Yeah. Just
It's like
Well,
a
just-
pie chart.
just doubles every time, doesn't it, basically. That's what's going on. That's what's going on.
And bulb, don't forget bulb.
Oh, and bulb.
mode.
Yeah. So I mean, you know,
And that locks out from memory.
I know it is. It's got everything that you need on it, which
cool.
is really nice. But you can pick these up relatively cheaply. We did want to do this episode when we had a lot more secondhand stuff on our website, but again,
COVID happened
yeah,
and everybody bought.
we don't have a lot. We will do soon. So if you're interested in possibly looking at film stuff, please give us a message, drop us a comment into this video, and we'll keep an eye out for stuff for you.
Or
and
if
then
you're
we can-
watching
yeah,
and you want to get rid of stuff,
yeah, we'll have it off you.
we'll have it. Super cheap, obviously.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you can pick these up. You're looking at under £50 for a kit like this, which is
The
quite
one
nice,
thing to
isn't it?
check: shutter speeds are working,
Yeah.
no fungus, and the light seals.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
And a good way to do that is that there's, especially on other cameras. I mean, it's a bit difficult on this one because normally you want to check your lower shutter speeds, and if they're okay, you're probably okay. So, and then you can listen out for it. So you'd wind on and go, yeah, that sounds about half a second or something. I mean, we can have a look at it on this camera, which is it's something that we do actually have in stock. This is one of our second-hand cameras available. It's got it's a Yashica. It's the XD, the model, and it's got a lovely 28mm Yashica lens on it as well, which is really, really nice.
Made in.
And it's, you know, it has got a bit more of the shutter speeds on it, and you can check. So we can move this to a second, and that's about a second, isn't it? So.
Yes, Mr. Metro.
Yeah, and another way is that this moving it to obviously number 2, which is a half of a second, should be half the time of what you've just heard, and so on and so on. So you know that's a really good thing that you can check on cameras. It's just to make sure, and if those lower sounds are good, you would generally, I know I might be wrong. But generally you're set.
Come on, tell us, David.
You're generally set for the higher speeds as well. Another thing that you can actually do as well is that if you have got a good eye, then you can open the back up of these, and I love doing this. It's just seeing the actual shutter,
Like the window.
sort of open and close there as well.
It's fast.
It's just that's not even picking up on camera, is it?
It did pick up the first time.
So if we move to an 1/8. There we go. So, you know, you get to you get to
Is
see
this
it.
where we should slow-mo it? We should have recorded it at like
Yeah, we should have done, shouldn't we?
240.
240 frames a second and show opening and closing.
Oosh.
So there's
The slow-mo guys did that. It was very cool to
I
watch.
can imagine, especially on those like really like
10,000.
10,000 frames a
You
second.
see like the flex in the leaves.
Yeah, and actually, it's a really good way of understanding how that on more modern cameras,
the first and second curtain.
yeah, how first and second curtain works as
And
well.
why, when you use flash,
Yes.
there's sync speeds.
Yeah, it's you sort of watch that and go, that's what makes sense.
And
So-
it's cool to see the mirror flick out of there.
Yeah.
The whole shebang.
So we pulled something out of another one out of your collection, didn't we, Joel? So we had this
Seagull.
a Seagull, which is a copy of the Rolleiflex, which is
Still
quite
cool
nice.
looking.
And these are really interesting cameras. Because
Everything's the wrong way around.
yeah,
It's very
it's a bit odd
Orientating.
when you look through the top of here, and I think you can just see the TV that we're looking at just in the corner there.
You
And
see our light panel as well.
yeah, just focus that there. And but the really nice thing with these is that they've come up with this unique design of using twin lenses. So these are TLRs, or twin lens reflex cameras,
Versus SLR.
SLR, which
Single
is
lens.
single lens reflex. Which
I want a triple lens reflex.
I don't know how that would help you.
They wouldn't.
You just
Or-
want one.
Yeah, or a quad lens reflex.
Yeah.
I've got a QLR.
But the nice thing with these is that you had the viewing lens at the top, and then you had the lens at the bottom. And what this enabled us to do is take out a mirror that needs to move out the way to actually expose, giving us a lot more room.
And they changed the whole way it worked as well,
Yeah.
in terms of the shutter and stuff.
Yeah.
didn't it?
So, and yeah, it's the first type of cameras where we saw the lens, the shutter actually in the lens as
The
well.
Leaf,
So leaf shutter, yeah, that's where we get it
which
from.
The only one I can think of digitally is the X100 series.
Yes, yeah, that is
believe.
very, very true.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty
So,
sure that's true.
Really nice. These type of cameras, they do shoot 120 film. So 120 film is very
Medium
unique.
format.
So if I just open the back of this, how do I open the back of this, Joel?
You pop it open.
I pop it open.
Yeah.
Thank you for the help.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh no, the embarrassment. So whilst Joel's,
Oh, here we go.
oh, it's the bottom. Yeah, of course it's there. So,
Quality product, that, mate.
and my mic's gone.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, and the top is cool. I always love this about.
Yeah.
And does this have the?
It's got like a little magnifier in it as well,
Yeah,
so when
where's
you
that?
pop it open. I
like
love
no
how we
greasy
struggle live.
fingerprints on this.
So yeah, it uses a system of where there's a spool at the bottom of the camera, and you would take the film from one end
To t'other.
to other.
So it's like the other. This is the portrait mode versus the landscape mode of
Yeah.
most single lens reflex.
Yeah, and
cameras.
a lot of these are square format as well, and you can actually see, against my hand, how big the frame is, and
Yeah.
this is what we know as medium
Medium
format,
Goodness.
and we still use it in today's. Just focusing on
And
the
then-
wrong bit there, isn't it?
There you go.
There we go. So it's we still use the wording medium format, and it is absolutely huge.
4 times bigger.
Yeah, loads of quality there, and I think a lot of, we still see professional people use.
They're not using seagulls though.
No, professional people still using medium format because the quality is there, and I think the ultimate quality in using 120 film is something that we've got at the front here, which I'm gonna look over.
Don't hurt your back, mate.
I mean, they're heavy. That is one thing. And I didn't think about this, but I don't think my second camera is actually going to fit this
The whole thing in.
The whole thing in. It is absolutely huge. Okay. Again, it's a single lens reflex system camera, that there is a mirror in there.
There is.
And and that's the reason why this
body
bit
has to be that
is so chunky, because you've got a mirror sort of going across that whole section there.
Yeah. But also it works differently in so much that you mentioned ISO issues earlier.
Yeah.
But you could use the same camera with different backs, so that you could have ISO 100 or 400.
This whole back sort of comes off.
That's colour versus black and white versus transparency.
So the idea with these is that this whole system would come
dark
off.
slide in. It's going to kill you otherwise.
I'm not even going to attempt to release it. So you have dark slide which is just on the side, just here.
Yeah.
And you're able to take this off. And also what I love about this particular model, and again I'm not going to do it because it's not my camera, but you can actually rotate this whole back and you can turn it from landscape to portrait, and it's using it's using the most of the 120 film in still a very sensible shape.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's using the length rather than the width as we see on some 645s.
Sure.
645s are great because they get the size down, but ultimately you're going to get banging quality with something like this.
100%.
Word I thought I'd never use live, but there we go. So one of the questions that we had when someone asked us that we mentioned that we were doing this, and someone said to us, it's a question that we get asked a lot about in store as well, is how to load a film.
Yes.
Okay. And we're just going to stick to the 35mm stuff. I don't need to practice, mate. Don't need to practice.
Come on then.
Because it's something because we love helping out in the shop, and it's something that we always get asked to do in the shop, and we really don't mind doing it. So
it's nice, especially when it's like a young person who's just got one.
I love it. I love it. I could do it in a minute for people, but I spend time and show them how to do it. And
he waxes lyrical about the olden days.
Yeah. Oh, the olden days. Right. So you wanted me to load your Zenit, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm going to take some pictures over the weekend.
Yeah. And maybe we can. No, we can't actually develop it next week because I need to show people in the light how to do it.
It's true.
Yeah. So we'll just develop yours downstairs in our dark room.
Colour in?
I'm going to put a black and white in.
Cool. I'm going to have to ask Phil nicely.
Because I just love these inexpensive films that we get in. They're so nice. Made by a company called Kentmere. You can get 36 exposure for like £4.
Bargain.
Yeah. Now Ilford stuff's nice. It really is. But
it's also like twice as much.
Yeah. It is. So this stuff's really nice to use, and once again, if you're doing this on the cheap, or if you're experimenting with developing at home, which we're going to show you next week as well, then maybe a roll of Kentmere is the way to go.
For sure.
So, but yeah, we're going to open this up.
Ooh.
And we're going to load it.
Even this is a cool process.
I'm hoping I do this absolutely perfectly now, because I've said that
you could do it.
I don't need to. Oh no!
Can you open the back?
Pressure's on. So depending on the type of camera that it is. So if we switch camera, thank you very much, Joel. What you'll notice on most cameras is that you would normally lift what is the rewind coil back up, and what this will do is that it's on like a little hinge, and you pop this open, and the back will open up like so.
Marvellous.
On the Zenit.
Oh, incidentally, Kentmere is made by Ilford. It's effectively their budget range.
Oh, there we go.
That's what David said.
Fantastic.
He didn't tell you were wrong, which is good.
No,
You're doing pretty well so far, mate.
Well, brilliant. Well, there's always time, David. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the back of the camera, and hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on here. And once again, we can see the film shutter winding on just on there as well. So we'll take that picture and clear it. Again, there's always one side that the film will go in. Typically, it's always going to wide onto the side that the winder is on. Okay, so wherever this section is normally where you'd put in the actual film itself. So it's always going to go on the opposite side. And again, with this with this particular model, there's a little thing on the top here. I mean, we're getting very
twisted.
We're getting very camera specific here, and said that word wrong.
Specific.
Yeah, thank you very much. This just pops up just on here, and what this does is it sort of just releases where the film is going to be held. Now, what I do...
Oh, here we go.
See, this is how I get around being right or wrong. So what I do is I like to engage the film before I continue. So what I'm just going to do is move this around a little bit until this fits down. If it was on another camera, what I would do is, because this is more your common one that you'd find, is that... Oh dear. There we go. Still not wrong. So lift this up, load it in there, and then actually just twist this around. Sometimes it won't go in all the way, and then you'll just see it click in like that. That means that it's engaged with the film, and then we'd start to bring it across just on there like that. But we're going to load it into the other camera here. So put that one away. And
just put it in the Yashica and then I can just make sure it's still working.
Yeah, I tested it before we came on, it is working. So again, this is engaged now, and you can see it's engaged because it's not coming out basically.
Makes sense.
Don't worry about like how much is over here, okay? Like,
unless you put it out like miles.
Yeah, you might get an extra frame if you're super careful and like you know what you're doing, but honestly, it's just not worth it. Like you'd much rather know that it's loaded properly.
For sure.
And the nice thing is that you can, like, if you pull it out a little bit too much, then you can always just rewind as well. So we can just rewind this a little bit, just in the spool, and it will come back in. So, and then on the other side, what we just want to do is we just want to tuck it in.
And this changes from camera to camera because a lot of cameras, especially electronic ones, have an arrow to aim for in it.
But on the more manual ones like this, there's somewhere where you tuck it in. And honestly, it doesn't matter how you tuck it in, as long as it's in, it's in.
As long as it bites, it's all good.
And again, what I like to do, so there's no right or wrong way of doing this, just get it stuck in, welly it in there. Honestly, it doesn't matter. The camera's not going to break. Again, you can make sure it's aligned nicely. Doesn't really matter too much. Now, what I would always suggest is I'd always do a wind on with the back open.
Yep.
Now, this might be controversial to some people watching.
Wasting a frame.
Wasting a frame.
But again, better to get it.
But I like to see that happening.
For sure.
Knowing that everything is all in and there's going to be absolutely no issues.
Some people actually fire a shot and then do it again, won't they?
Exactly. But we need to remember now that all of this bit of the film has been exposed to light. Okay, so we need to clear that off. So that's going to be at least 2 frames to clear that. Okay, possibly 3, depending on your camera. So at this point, we can close the back off, and I'm going to do my first clear to get rid of that film, and that's winding on now. At this point, I like to tension the rewind. So on a more easier camera, you just start winding this back until you feel the tension of the camera. And again, that's another little check. So I'll just do it on this one. So it is right there, which is fine. And I can just put this back down now. And it's just another thing, especially when we do the second wind now. So I'm just going to do my second clear. We can notice that this is actually going to turn as well, and it's just another little confirmation that the film is is loaded, and that's it. Film is loaded.
At this point, though, we reset the shot counter.
On this particular camera, which I don't know how to do actually.
Just twist it.
Does it? Where does it line up with the red bit?
I think so, from memory.
There we go.
I haven't shot on that for ages.
Put that around there.
Well, there you go. Playing with the Fujika too.
So, that is a loaded 35mm. And actually, if anyone's struggling with it and wanted us to send a video of what their camera is and what they're struggling with, then we can drop a message and just say, That's how you help. Or pop in if you're local.
Or we can FaceTime with you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. Yeah.
And especially when it comes to the film. No, not especially. Because we always like to help. No, we're not. But, not going to lie, do like talking about film.
Can't tell.
There we go. Joel, there is your black and white loaded Zenit camera.
Nice.
For you to enjoy over the weekend.
Yeah. Because I made sure to shoot my son on film, but I've yet to shoot my daughter on film.
Glad you said on film at the end of that sentence.
So, make sure that it's functioning correctly. Good times.
Nice. Should we have a look at some of the comments before we wrap up?
What film was it? 400?
It was, yes.
See the thing you got to do on this one?
Yeah. So have I swapped cameras? Yeah, I have. So there is an area where you would select the.
My numbers are worn off. Flipping it.
It's part of the retro experience, mate.
Apparently. There we go.
It's about
Apparently.
We'll be fine.
Time will tell.
Should we have a look at some of the comments?
Alright. Right.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just trying to catch it. Oh, yeah. Gareth says thanks, which I think was in reference to us saying he was a really nice bloke and good at his photography.
Yeah.
And just telling the truth, innit?
Workshops available.
Yeah. I need to put the links in for that. I'll find those in a minute whilst you're waffling on about something. Mark says, good afternoon, you two heroes. Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, Mark.
You're quite the flatterer, Mark.
Yeah. What are you after?
But yeah. Film.
You've seen all the film cameras, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I need to start the jam now.
Yeah. Mark is a massive film fan.
Yeah.
He's like all over it. So film, win, and win again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andrew Howe says hi. Good to see you. Hope the bag is still good. Andrew says, unless you're shooting transparencies, that was in reference to the whole dynamic range.
Yeah, dynamic range. There is zero dynamic range on slide.
Don't screw that up. Andy says, love shooting with a Fuji 617 camera.
I don't know what that is. I'm going to quickly Google it as 617.
What if you're developing with coffee? Oh, interesting. How
I
many
know what
people do that?
617 is. We had two of them in stock at one point. It's that.
With the metal frame.
Yeah, 617. I know it as because it is a 6. It's centimeters, isn't it? Yeah, so 6 cent. Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it would be, wouldn't it? Anyway, but it's the ratio. I'll just go with the ratio for now. Is 617. So you get a panoramic as well.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think who had one.
It is absolutely bonkers, and it's got this this cage
frame,
around
cool.
it. So good.
Is it
so
cooler
good.
than a X-Pan though?
Yeah, because it's 120 film, and it weighs an absolute ton.
Yeah, but
and when you're holding the front, it looks like you're holding some sort of machine, like
military
railgun.
Yeah.
Not that you'd use it that way.
Yeah. You'd be like trying to wind it on as fast as possible. It's just not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
Ian says, so true. I usually shot transparencies back in my earlier days. It taught you to be correct in exposure.
100%.
No second chances.
Yeah.
All right. And this is Sarah. My darkroom disaster was when one of the luminous fingers fell off the clock mid-developing 20 plus films. I had to count elephants. Oh my life. If you've never experienced like what developing means in terms of the process, watch next week and then imagine what Sarah had to go through.
Yeah.
Because they were 20 films that weren't hers, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
And if she cocked it up, there's going to be some very not happy people.
Yeah.
So, Ian said he had a Yashica 635 TAR back in the day.
No, that one. So. Lovely.
So, you know that Contax G2 we had in?
Yes.
That was in Champagne. That was like
edition. Yeah, and rare as well. There's only like 100
3 Zeiss lenses in there. That was. Yeah. Steve says, "Afternoon, guys. Sorry, late joining. Work gets in the way of the fun." Well, glad you're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Good to see you. He said. So Ian said TLR that you could use either 120 or using a set of adapters supplied. You could use 35mm.
Yeah, I remember.
It's very clever, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Andrew says, I wish 24 exposure was a bit easier to get hold of. It takes a long time to get through a 36 on a pen F.
Yeah.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? I think the companies aim for 36 because people quite often want more for their money, don't they? Because
But the Kentmere stuff is available in 24 exposure, and we do have that in stock as well.
And when the world returns to some semblance of normality, we tend to get 24 in the colours quite easily as well.
We do. Yeah.
Johnny says, great stuff. Check your private messages for the message of the week. I'm going to do that in a second. Andrew says, we should do a photo walk sometimes. Got at least 3 cameras that need testing. 100%.
Yeah.
Sarah, think of a date and we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll just get something arranged.
We'll just go.
Andrew, we'll just go. Yeah, and then even if it's just between, we'll just say, and then we'll just say, and we'll just do something. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Remember that, we're going to discuss that after this. Gary says, still got my Fuji STX2 from 1988. No worries about flat batteries. Yeah, it's cool. That's something that at least I do forget. When people used to travel abroad, they didn't have to really worry about batteries. And now when people travel abroad now, they're like
you
buying
just have to worry about your X-ray machines.
Yeah, 6 batteries and like one of those battery holders.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, it'll last you several months if you did have to use a small button cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the full manual ones, it's nothing at all.
Well, yeah, and I think with this model, I can't remember, but it had a battery for the meter, but you could still use it. It would just carry on sort of as normal anyway, with or without the meter sort of kicking in, which is nice.
What you need as an extension to your digital film camera is a camper van. Selling mine.
Love it.
Give you 100 quid. I'll come and pick it up. I'll pay for the fuel to pick it up. Andrew said batteries is a bit of an issue for the old cameras, trying to get the right voltage. True, but we still seem to manage to get almost every type of battery necessary. And
you might sort of Google, it takes this battery and it's no longer available. There are some that used to use a mercury battery. Yeah. Now there is a alkaline version available. It does increase your exposure by like 1/3 of a stop because the output is higher, but they still work. So again, if you're not too sure on stuff like that, give us a shout and we can have a look into it.
We'll definitely help as much as we can.
Indeed.
Right, I'm going to find those links whilst you waffle on about something.
Oh dear.
I don't know what you're going to waffle on about.
Are we there about the comments?
Yeah.
So the only thing I was going to say, especially about batteries, since we're talking about that, is that you did have to be careful with the old batteries within the film, especially if your camera was reliant on the battery actually firing the camera, like something like the Sheikah that we have here. So it will not fire without a couple of button cells, because batteries that go in here, they will stop working when a camera gets probably too hot,
too cold,
or mainly too cold. And especially around here, I think it's
not
even minus. I think it's a couple of degrees above minus. Would impede the camera from not working. And I remember the first time I wanted to do a long exposure, freezing cold, climbed up a mountain, got there with my old film camera and just wasn't doing anything. Frantically taking the batteries out, which you had to take your gloves off to get in there to do it, and putting the batteries underneath my armpit to try and warm them up just to get one shot. And I managed to get one shot, and then the batteries froze up again. Absolute nightmare. So, right, there's me waffling. What I will say, as Joel frantically tries to find whatever he's trying to find, is again...
links for Gareth Morgan's things so that people can buy them.
Right. Yeah. Very, very true. Very, very true. So, we'll be putting links in the comments right now for Gareth Mon's workshop. Yeah. Put an S at the end of Mons there, so Gareth Mon. If you're interested, have a look. I think there's some pictures up on there of some of Gareth's work as well, which is absolutely stunning. But if you're interested, please book on. It'd be lovely to see you on one of our workshops that we're doing, and obviously enables us to do more and more as well. So the more and more people book on to things like this, the more workshops that we can actually offer for you as well. And I think we do them relatively very good rate as well, don't we? So.
And also, Sarah makes cups of tea and coffee.
Yeah, Sarah's there.
People
on point,
bring
keeping everyone nice and
stuff.
warm, and stuff like that. So that's absolutely brilliant. Big thank you to everyone watching this week as well. So we've had some wonderful people watching and loads of comments coming in. Everyone talking about their film stories. If you're not watching live, have no fear. Drop your conversations into the comments. We do read them, and we love to hear your stories, especially when it comes to film. What's that?
Thanks, Johnny.
I don't think we can.
I don't think we're going to show that. Suffice to say, if you watched last week, Paul said a few things.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably drop that in last week's comments.
Yeah,
I'll allow you to do that. That's fine. That's fair game. That stick it in there. So big.
At least it's not as bad as your gifts.
That was very good, wasn't it? Very good. So big thank you to everyone watching. More importantly, if you haven't done already, make sure you go over to our Facebook and YouTube channels. Hit the subscribe button. Doesn't actually cost. Hit that icon. Doesn't actually cost you anything to do that.
Like this video, even if it's a sad face.
Yeah.
Like a thumbs up, a heart, a caring, a laughing, crying, whatever. Do that and then share it with all your friends for us, please.
It's free content that we're giving here.
Exactly.
And
also, it just helps us as an independent business to reach more people.
It really does. And more importantly, we really appreciate when you do stuff like that as well. So, and it helps us keep going because we want to do lots more. And what would really help us sort of justify it is if we had loads of people supporting us. But a massive thank you to everyone that does support us already. You know who you are. So big thank you to all of those.
100%.
And if you're first watching us, join in with the comments. We love sort of building up this little family that we've started to build up here now. So it's absolutely amazing. So
we'll have to figure out a way of getting everybody on that film walk. We'll have to
100%.
dig out some old film cameras for those that don't have one.
I think we just need to set a date. We're going to be here at this time and we're going to do it.
We'll make sure there's a good place for coffee and cake.
Yeah.
At the beginning and at the end.
I think it needs to be because I think we do very well on cake and coffee around here. So
we do.
Joel, any final thoughts before we break up for the weekend? I know what you're doing. You're going to be shooting some black and white film.
I just hope the weather's good.
Yeah, it is, sort of.
Problem is, they're like shooting the kids inside. It's going to be difficult.
It can't be done, mate. No,
unless the window is like
you've got your digital mind on. It's not gonna help.
I'm just going to go around with an LED everywhere.
So
Why are the children like this?
So I'll shine in a massive light in their face. So, but no,
it's a good excuse to go on a walk.
It is good excuse to go on a walk. I would say if you've got a film camera, just bring it back out again, even if it's playing about in the house. Because I tell you, it is one of those.
And if you don't think it's working properly, bring it in and we'll have a look at it.
Yeah. So even if you get your own film camera out, or if you know somebody in the family that's got one, just see if you can borrow it, even if it's having a play inside, just listening to it, watching the shutter go up and down, playing with the aperture, have a go. It's really relaxing. Obviously, building up on that, load of film in it.
Yeah. And we
get
sell
cracking.
Film. And also we still develop black and white and C41.
Yeah. And again,
print it.
Next week is going to be the whole thing where we can show you how to develop a black and white film. But again, if you didn't want to do it yourself, then it's something that we can do for you as well.
Cool. Good times.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Cheers.
Button.
Oh, come on.
Damn it.
It's like amateur hour around here.
Right.
3, 2, 1,
Bye-bye.
go. Bye.